but if you kind of turn a diamond, not that I can ever say that I've ever held a diamond to turn a diamond, but if you, let's go for a glass paperweight instead, if you twist it slightly, then you get a completely different view. And I think we're seeing that in church, aren't we? There's some exciting things that are bubbling up and happening. And I think it's the same for us in CAP too. So we've just had our 9th birthday as a centre, which is amazing, quite honestly. That time has really flown by. And there are lots of exciting things happening, although there are some difficult things happening. So I'm just going to kind of give you a bit of an overview, and I'm going to hand over to Sally in a little bit so that she can tell you about her side of things. 9 years and counting. And although I'm not allowed to keep records because of data protection, blah, 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 I think we are somewhere in the region of about 500 home visits now that we've made over those 9 years, which is really cool. And in that time, 47 people have invited Jesus to be part of their life, which is exciting. 8 have gone on to be baptized. So that's really cool. Now, lockdown has been a difficult time because we're not allowed. Our unique selling point that we have as an organization is to visit people in their homes. And we've just not been able to do that. And we continue to not be able to do that. So it is difficult. But do you know what? It's not difficult for all the clients, actually. For some of them, actually, things may not have even changed because they never went out anywhere anyway. They never saw anybody anyway. So actually, they haven't really noticed a difference. So for some, they're doing okay. But for others, they're finding it really hard. So I'm really thankful that the government have enabled us to still be able to use COVID secure facilities like churches to be able to see people in a safe way, which is really great. So as long as we can get them, they can get to a church, and we've used West Road in Bury and our own church. And I've just had an offer from Vineyard Church as well, that they will allow us to use a room there so that people that haven't got transport can actually walk and actually get to a church so we can make a visit. So that's really good news. We've done food parcels for people during this time, and I want to thank Storehouse for their massive support there as well. So I'd encourage us all to keep giving into that ministry as well, keep donating into that ministry, because they are really helping us as well as a centre. And also I want to just give a nod really to the Gatehouse, who contacted me and said they'd got some funding that they would like to use up. Did I have any CAP clients that could benefit from that funding? And so it was a COVID-based funding. And so what we were able to do is help a client pay for John Stone to be able to actually move him from Bury to Colchester to his new house. So that's really great. So I want to say thank you to Amanda for that as well. During this time, amazingly, we've had record numbers of debt-free clients. So since March, we've had 11 debt-free clients here in Bury, which is, honestly, those are staggering numbers, because one a month is good, but 11 in just a few months is really great. So praise God for that. And so that now brings our total to over 102. Well, it's just about, I say over 102, that's because there are 2 people that are just about to go debt-free as well. So I'm kind of half counting them. Anyway, 102, which is amazing. And of course, during this time, we invited Sally to come and join us, and that's really exciting. And then we thought, why not, let's just 2 days after she's joined, let's just tell her she can't visit people in the homes because of things that are going on with CAP. And then I'll tell you what, a month or 2 later, why don't we tell her that she can't do any visits at all because of COVID? So she's had a really tough time. And I just want to say thank you, Sally, for sticking with it, because I honestly don't think there are many people that could have put up with what you've had to put up with in this time, with all the uncertainty and all the stuff that has been going on. I just want to say thank you for sticking with it. It's going to be amazing, but it's going to take a little while to get there. So thank you, Sally. And I just want to hand over to Sally now, just to give us a little bit of an update from her perspective, please.
Okay. All right. Well, I haven't done very many of these Zoom calls, so is not the best way for me to tell you all about CAP. But as Darren had said, I feel a bit upset now because it has been really, really tough. It's been a really tough year. But for me, I sort of initially, as Darren said, I sort of started in the role in August last year. And my training took place in June and July. And I went to Bradford and had some in-house training. There were actually 27 other people nationally that were training. We all then got back to our home locations literally the following day and had this email about CAP needing to reduce the number of clients that they were seeing. So there was immediately 27 of us that were sort of champing to go out of the gates to be able to see clients. But despite all of that, what I did, obviously with the opportunity, the idea was really that I could go out with Darren, I could see his clients. But even then, that became challenging because his clients would go on radio silent, we couldn't see them. And there was just this constant battle of whatever I sort of decided I'd like to be able to do to move forward. There was this constantly this block. But the long and the short of it is I have stuck with it. I have fancied quitting a few times. I wouldn't lie. The only thing was that I'd given up my full-time job, so I didn't really have anything else to do. So I thought, well, I need to stick with this because I know that this is what God would like me to do. So I effectively joined as a trainee. So you're not officially a debt coach until you've been through a 1-year training process. So my 1 year officially was due up in August, but because of the lack of clients, really not being able to see people and not gain the experience for the team of us in 2019, our training was extended until October. But I'm pleased to report that despite all of those things, I did officially pass all my tests. I had a recording that had to be done with a client over the telephone, and I haven't even told Darren this, and I don't know if I feel comfortable saying, but I scored some of the highest scores on that. Our area manager said that she'd never seen anybody come out. I think I was two marks short of 100% in terms of what they were scoring. So that was a great boost for me. So that was really good. And then 2 days later, I had another email to say that one of my first clients that I got to see in February when we were out of the gates again, just before COVID, Wendy came with me as my befriended to see this lady. I then found out that she had gone debt free as well, which was absolutely brilliant. So it has been a sort of a bit of a bittersweet experience really in terms of what I'm doing. But it's been good. So there's been highlights, there's been lowlights. I think the biggest thing is that I don't know if people will know, but I'm not paid for, the church doesn't cover my salary. So what happened was when Trevor and Susie decided that, and Darren, that they would like to have an additional coach, money was sought via a grant, and that was a 2-year grant. So I didn't know this, but that grant, that money gets reviewed only on an annual basis. I thought it was certain I'd have the money for 2 years. And then Darren emailed me and said, oh, just to let you know, Sally, we'll pay you for the next year because the grant has been approved for the final year. So that's the good news, is that there is financial support for me for that. But I think for me, the biggest thing that I've been amazed by is how willing people are for you to pray for them. I think probably up until 3 years ago, I would have avoided praying for anybody really. The only time I would do it would be if I had this moment where my heart was really racing, thinking, right, here's the opportunity, Sally, I think you've got to do it. But before that, I would always shy away from it because it would sometimes, not that it's a performance, but you're not always sure what to say or how to pray and the language that you use. Because when you pray in church, we've got a particular way of speaking, haven't we? And I think when you're praying with people outside of church who have never heard prayers, I think you just need to change the way that you speak. But in all of the clients that I've met, obviously not all of them have engaged with me. Initially, I've met them, but all of them, I've had nobody to this point, and I've probably had 10 clients so far. Nobody has said, no, I don't want you to pray for me, which is great. But Darren and I, we were doing I nicknamed us Mr. and Mrs. Cap because we were doing a call together. So Darren had one client and I had the other, and these two clients were actually friends. I won't go into all the details of it, but needless to say, it's a pretty complicated client relationship. But anyway, we went to this call, and we were sort of finishing. We'd been at West Road, and we were just finishing this call. And then Darren, I think I said, oh, let's pray. And Darren's client said, oh, I was wondering when you were going to pray. You know, I didn't want to leave without you praying. So it was just really great that Darren's client, each time he'd spoken to him, he would speak to him on the phone, would always offer to pray. So this guy had just this, it was expected, that's what he wanted, and that's what he hoped for. And I didn't meet this particular man at the very beginning, which Darren did. But he spoke to me on how different this man was at the end of his journey of Darren first meeting him, just meeting him for coffee, because COVID came along and we couldn't do the cat work as it was, but just that regular connection of doing all of those things. And I think for me, it's the transformation that you see in people. And what we're doing, I'm going to say it's quite simple, but you're actually just going and you're showing some concern and some care for them. Talking to them, but you're helping them with such a big thing. But obviously, wherever you can, you know, you're praying with them. We each have a testimony card as well that we give to people as well. So it's a real, it's a bit of a roller coaster ride, really. As a person, I love to be organised and I love to know what I'm doing. And Darren said, Sally, it won't be like that for you at all. And I'm thinking, well, I'm going to make sure that it's like that. But I can tell you, it absolutely isn't. And this is like my nightmare come true, really, you know, my nightmare scenario. So I'm probably a little less controlling now about things that I might want to do. But you just have to go with the flow a lot more. So I think, as Darren said, I think it's going to be good. I've got 2 clients that I'm currently working with at the moment. I personally, I've had clients that have really engaged well with doing it over the telephone. For many of you probably know that my previous job that I did, a lot of it was work over the telephone, and I had to sort of talk about finance packages and all sorts of other things. So I think in a way, those skills that I've learned from that have equipped me quite well to be able to sort of deal with the COVID scenario that we've had. So I've actually had more success on the phone than I did on one-to-ones. So I won't be offended by the fact that people don't want to meet me in person, but they have to talk to me over the phone. But I think for me, it's just pushed me along where I was tempted to quit and think this isn't what I want to do. It just was really just using skills that I'd learned elsewhere and just being able to add that into the mix. So I think it's going to be great. I would like, if I'm honest, I'd quite like to do more days if I could. I thought it would be quite easy when I came back, but Darren said that it's not as easy as that, because as a church, we actually pay for the service that we have from Bradford. So I think if we, as a church, if we feel passionately about it and we would like to see it grow, then I think for me, it's about how we maybe look at it as a church. Do we want to invest? Do we want to approach other churches in Bury to say, look, you know, we're going to be hitting a really, really difficult time when COVID finishes. There's going to be even more need for debt service than ever before. Do we as a church want to invest more of our money into that service so that we can move up to the next level, that we can then have more access to the service? You know, I can do another day. I don't have to be paid for it. I don't mind doing it as a voluntary day, but I think what we would like as a centre is that people have got access, that we could potentially have a new client every day of the week, that we would have availability of appointments. At the moment, per month, Darren and I are restricted to just 4 clients. Darren has 3 and I just have 1. But yes, I guess it's probably a bigger thing to look at. But yes, I think loads and loads of work to do. So more befrienders, please. If you want to know what that looks like, you can speak to Darren or speak to me or speak to Wendy, who's had a bash at it. Angie's had a go. Bob Murray's had a go. So if you feel that's anything that you'd like to get involved with, that would be absolutely great. So that's me, really.
Thank you, Sally. Thank you so much. And thank you again for, really sticking with it. And just to kind of elaborate a little bit on what you said there. So our vision, which has been discussed throughout the leadership, is to have a centre that has got 3 debt coaches, all engaged, so that we can, whatever phone call is made, we can always say yes to them. and without going into all the details, that there are some restrictions, as Sally has suggested, about how many new clients we can have because of the demand it places on head office. So it's, although the clients don't pay for the service, somebody has to. So there's a big, huge cost with over 300 people working at head office now. So anyway, that's something where we want to aim at. So let's keep praying into that for God to release the funding to be able to do that. I also want to thank you, Sally, for helping me. Even when you didn't have clients, you helped me with people like our lovely lady Donna, who we all saw through the WhatsApp group that, you know, was literally on death's door, and God healed her amazingly. So I want to thank you for your support there, because you are a brilliant befriender as well as a great debt coach. And then one final thing, which I just want to share with everybody, is that this year for Christmas, what we'd like to do is we would like to be able to give some kind of gift, and I'm hesitating on my words because I'm not quite sure how to describe it, but some kind of blessing, I guess, would be a better word, for each of our clients. And Sally and I, we need to have a conversation about this, but rather than just doing some kind of broad stroke of there's a hamper or there's some toys for the kids or whatever, we'd like to very much do it in a way that's right for that family unit or that single person or that couple. So it might be meal vouchers, it might be, I don't know, a cinema voucher, it might be anything, but we need to discuss that. And what we'd like to do is kind of open up this appeal, really, to say, if you'd like to get behind and support this so that we can actually bless our clients with some substantial gifts. So, you know, obviously if it's a meal, then you can't get a meal for £5. So you need to, they need to be decent sized. So if you feel like you can really support that, can you speak to me or Sally, and when we do actually put all the line up all the dots and the I's and the crosses on the T's, and we've got a plan and release that, if you could then get behind that and support that, that would be amazing, because we would love to be able to bless these amazing clients, particularly at this time of the year and at this time in this year, because it's been a crazy bonkers year, as you all know. So thank you very much for continuing to support CAP. We're in year 10, and I'm looking forward to celebrating my 10th anniversary. Saw a vision of that all those years ago of me actually celebrating 10th year as the centre manager. So that's amazing. In some respects, I don't know where it's gone. In some, it's flown by. So thank you very much. Please keep praying. Please keep supporting. And I just want to bless you and say thank you.
Oh, thank you, Darren. Thank you, Sally. As a church leader, I absolutely love it when I hear people saying, give me more work to do, please. You know, that's just music to my ears. So I want to thank you again, both of you, for what you've done this last year. It's been incredibly difficult. You know, when I got the opportunity to preach a couple of weeks ago, I preached about becoming overcomers, becoming more than conquerors. And Darren, Sally particularly, because it was all new to you, you know, you are overcomers. So thank you. Bless you guys.
Cool. So the logistics of how we are going to operate our Christmas giving this year is that we will be releasing out the list that Sally and Darren are going to compile, and then there'll be an opportunity for anybody that wants to be able to give that amount for that gift, and then we'll be having a gift day on Sunday the 6th of December. Now obviously hopefully we are hopefully going to be able to meet around coffee to do that, but there'll be more information and directions that will be coming out to you for our Christmas gift day soon.